Here I am looking at my computer and my MySpace page, or not MySpace, fuck, see how senile I am? My Facebook, well, and it's about sex, but I don't know anything about that. There's some things that it's kind of like music of goth or whatever, and I'm going to turn this around and show everybody my goth glory, because I'm 24/7 gothic. No, that's a lie. Okay, well, first off, I watched a video from my friend, and it was funny. It was actually a really funny thing, because they were beating up this guy who's totally emo or whatever, Slipknot and everything. They're like, well, you're not gothic. And you're saying, oh, well, we hear you go running around and you're saying you're goth. I was just laughing about it and everything like that. But the one thing that I didn't agree with was that I don't believe that, to me, Ian Curtis from Joy Division, he was probably one of the many bands that started the music genre, but the gothic music genre goes way back even to like 1700s, 1800s with the harpsichord. I mean, gothic to me means the literary style, a fashion, style, and that would probably be like this guy named Chad Hedgewick. I can't say his name right. He's following what, to me, is what gothic is. There's a video out there on YouTube that says, talks about the movements, the gothics in Dave Vanian, and it talks about how it came out of the skirt tails or whatever, or the shirt tails, I can't say, or anyways, the coat tails, yeah, there we go, my mind's not working today, of the punk movement that went down with, in England. I mean, the three main bands were The Clash, The Damned, and Sex Pistols, and Susie and the Banshees, which at first was going to be called Flowers of Romance with Sid Vicious. Now this is England in the 70s and stuff, and then there's the stuff that was going on in New York with the New York Dolls, and all of this was considered punk and everything like that. And then they went to the Gothics, and then it's kind of like a cross between the Victorian stuff, and then there's the horror punk stuff, and then you've got your rockabilly or your gothabilly people with the jacket. It's kind of like it all stems from punk, what it was, but now everybody's looking like pretty much like little copies of each other. Nobody's really doing anything that hasn't already been done. And so many people want to sit there and say, well, this is what goth is, and this is what goth is, da, 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 da. It has evolved into something that I particularly don't care for. Here I am in my sweatshirt, I got a little hat on, my glasses. Far be it for me to be corrected from some kid who, I'm not talking about my friend, I'm just saying, hipsters and stuff. It's like so many categories of people now. Hipsters, horror punk, gothabilly, death rock, neon goths, cyber goth, new goth. It's just kind of like, seeing kids, that's just like an explosion of insanity. When I first started dressing up, like I said, I lived in a very conservative house. My dad absolutely hated it, and I had my hair shaved. I had my bangs up in my face and crimped it down, and loved Susie, loved the Damned, and listen to what I can get away with. I used to have a long velvet cape, and I had mini winkle pickers and all kinds of stuff, and purging and then getting stuff back because of how I lived. Mini leather jackets. I never would paint anything on them because of the fact that I put studs and everything. But I never really felt very comfortable in that. I mean, because to me, horror punk and death rock, they kind of ride the same kind of, but we all listen to the same kind of music. Maybe. I mean, Johnny Cash, that, you'll hear Cash being played at a rock show, and I love Johnny Cash because I was raised on Johnny Cash. And so, I'm not going to sit there and bash somebody because of something that they like. Marilyn Manson, okay? When it was like around the early 90s, all of us, Gothic people got pissed off at the Mansonites because they were like, oh my God, look at them, but they look just almost like us, but not very well done. It's just kind of like, oh, I can't stand Marilyn Manson. But then, like with me, I started listening to his lyrics, and do I say Marilyn Manson is goth? No. He is shock rock. He is definitely a shock rocker, has maybe a quote unquote goth component. Evanescence, no, is not goth. She looks pretty. She has her black hair. She has some frilly little things. They are not gothic. No. Okay? Raised in Black, probably more of an industrial sound, but they have a song called Oh My Goth. I'm okay with them with a couple of songs, but they're just a guy jumping around with a mohawk and jumping around in black, and I don't know. I raised in Black. They have the little dancers up on stage, and they're all right. But like I say, I don't personally care for Jack Off Jill either, or the Birthday Massacre, or God, I don't even know who Blood on the Dance Floor is. I have no idea. I've never even heard of it. But there's like some music, like at my club, and this song has been played like throughout 2002 when Matt D was playing. I was going and walking. I wasn't dancing, but I was walking through the crowd, like saying, "Hey, look who's out here," and stuff, And I don't know what was being played, so I don't know what that represents on my part, but. If people are out there dancing and enjoying the music and everything, and it's not like, I had my sonic screwdriver. If anybody wants to know, it's not a glow stick. It's from Doctor Who, and also a nerd and just got. I wouldn't mind recruiting people for, but people need to find out for themselves. That's just kind of like. When two people and they're into the subculture or goth or whatever, and they're a goth person and they make their babies like, oh, give them bats and skeletons and get them to be dark. And I think that's kind of like take away from them from being an individual. That's just my opinion. It's kind of like, some of these guys that want their sons to be whatever they weren't in high school. I've not always, but I love music, but I love a lot of music. If you were to come over here and look at my computer, you'd be like, oh my God, what the hell are you listening to? Some of the stuff I have to get rid of. Because I had my moments, where I just get rid of stuff. Hey, I'm just going to be normal, just fucking, and that's another thing. It's just because of guys, lack of available males in this scene, and just lack. And everybody's trying to outdo each other too. And that's another thing. If you are a person who is into the goth subculture and are packing more than a few pounds, okay, and snub at me and look at me like, oh, well, I'm going to be like, oh God, lose your fat ass, because I have had that happen to me where I was at a club and this chick that could have swallowed 3 of me just snubbed me. I was like, what the fuck, dude? It's just like, okay, well, at least I don't have, I can make a corset look good, but that's where my snobbiness comes in. But other than that, I don't really care about weight. But there's like all these new terms: hipsters, scene kids, gravers, candy kid ravers. And by the way, I used to have a friend. She's probably in her 50s now, and she has bright pink hair, big bows, wearing her canned E. and she has, I mean, to me, that is, go to the raves, man. All that, you think, go stay in the raves, stay over there, you know, and just, you know, don't come near me, because, you know, I can't deal with it. I went to one rave and it was like my head was hurting. People were trying to touch me. This also happened at a club in Bakersfield, whose name I will not mention. I had my black veil on, walking around, and was completely dressed to the hilt. And some girl comes up to me and says, "Oh, I like your costume." And I was like, "What?" People were falling on me, pulling my veil back. I'm like, God, you know, get the fuck off me. This is one of the reasons why I don't like going into clubs, because these people, "Oh, you're so cute, let's touch you, let's touch you, let's touch you, Tiffany." Don't touch me. Just let me, like, dance around, you know, and but people want to touch my hair or touch my, you know, my veil that I paid for when they're drunk, or fall on me. It's like, that's why I hide in a corner sometimes. Go out and just kind of give me a space, but I don't. And that's another thing. I mean, if I were to see somebody too that I didn't like, or they didn't like me, I'm not going to get in a fight. My clothes are more important than their life will ever be worth. So, as far as being into the goth subculture, I think I'll always have a heart for it, but I mean, the older and older you get, you're going to look back on this, because I look back on it. I mean, like I said, I didn't really wear a lot of, I wore fishnets, fishnet stockings, I cut the hole out of the crotch and make my own. Wore black t-shirts, little vests with the frilly, you know, and then I had a bob haircut, but underneath it was all shaved, and then I'd stick it up and crimp it and do it like that. I probably wear a hell of a lot more makeup now than I did then, obviously. And I know of a lot of friends that, you know, they know the music, and they totally have changed. They know the music, they still dig it, but they're like, I'm just done, man, you know? My friend Andre, I mean, don't you ever come up to him, you know, I mean, he's told me that people, he went down to a club, and there's all these, you know, hipster kids or whatever, and they're having Christian death patches or whatever, and he was trying to talk to him, and they were like snubbing him. It's like, dude, man, it's like, ugh. We all get older, and we all like, I know Lydia from the band The Shroud, they're known worldwide, and she's changed too, and you know, we just all, you know, we all just change with age. I mean, and I'm not going to sit there and bash somebody. I did that when I was younger too. I mean, you know, oh my God, there's a Manson. You know, I don't need to go and get on the bus and put on white makeup and black lipstick and black eyeshadow and go to Taco Bell with all my, you know, crystal ball ring and walk around and freak all the people out. Oh my God, are you a devil worshiper? This is one thing that I will share, and then I have to go. I was in the mall with my friend Kelly at the time. I don't know what happened. She was with her daughter, and it had happened when Columbine happened, and me and her and she and I were cruising the mall, and we had tickets to go see Marilyn Manson, and he got banned from Fresno. Figures, huh? So these guys from Channel 30 come up to me. And they're like, hey, we want to introduce some people. And at that time, that's when Hot Topic was carrying stuff that was actually cool. Claire's had coffin earrings. I mean, they had a lot of cool coffin rings and everything. But they came up, and they're like, oh, can we interview you? So they interviewed me, and my aunt saw it, and they're like, oh, Tiffany. I was just like, I think, they were asking me, do you think Marilyn Manson's music influenced these kids to go and do what they did? And I said, well, I think these kids were disturbed, you know, long before, you know, they were listening to Marilyn Manson, and I think them being bullied probably pissed them off. You know, I didn't say that, but I said I think these kids were bullied to the point of what they did and killed all their friends or whatever. And so I was on the news out here on Channel 30. I don't know if that broadcast is still out there. I have no idea, but it was, I'll go and look at it online, because I was on there kind of just talking about, it would probably be in their archives, or Yeah, so it's a million years ago. I have to go into the time machine and find it. Anyways, don't be so hard on the new, on those people. Like, I made fun of them myself and just kind of like laugh at them. And who am I to judge these neon people? Who am I to judge? You can sit there and judge anybody you want because you can do whatever you want. You can people can sit there and look at me and like, oh my God, she's a goth midget. Oh, I don't care. I mean, it's my life. I know I'm not a midget. I'm short, but that's all I have to say. Put me in the hot seat now. So you guys have a great day. Bye.